Knowledge is power, guys. If you understand the foods that you're putting into your body, it forces you to make more responsible decisions. Let's talk a little bit why we have such a generation and an epidemic of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, a lot of these food related illnesses and problems that have come up in recent years. Why is that? What's kind of going wrong? And why does it feel like nutrition often contradicts itself within different diets, different scientific studies that have been done? We're always hearing different things and different ideas about what the best and optimal diet is, and it can be very, very confusing for somebody. I know I was confused for a long time. I was somebody that wanted to figure out health and weight loss and how it affected muscle building as well for a long time. If you're taking a logical approach to all these different ideas about food and diet and different things in this day and age, one of the best ways to kind of at least draw some type of line in the sand would be to recognize that processed foods are something that kind of historically come along with a lot of these health related problems that we have. And so let's talk a little bit about why processed foods are bad, because you might just hear that and you're like, yeah, but I really like Oreos. And then so for you, the emotional decision between enjoying Oreos and feeling good and positive about giving your body good foods, whatever you think that may be, chicken and broccoli, whatever your notions of health are, you would base it off of an emotional decision, because you're really going to only be able to base your decision with the information that you have at your disposal. If you have a deeper understanding, rather, of these foods, then making a different decision becomes a little bit more intricate, and it becomes a little bit more, you have to have a little bit more responsibility because you have more information. It's kind of like growing up, right? You learn more about how your actions affect yourself, the world, and others, and then you have to act a little bit more responsibly. So in the same way with diet and food, we should have a little bit of a furthering of understanding as we age and mature and want to use food as medicine and something that supports us in life, rather than something that's just maybe an escape, something that feels good, or just we don't really think about it at all. So if we look at processed foods, one of the things that makes them so harmful, other than just the manufacturing process, remember, every time a food goes through a stage of manufacturing, especially in these very, very developed countries, if you live out in a village and somewhere in Africa or in India, you're probably not going to have this much of an issue, because they still pretty much like split their rice and make their foods very naturally and by hand and stuff like that. But in this day and age, in modern westernized countries, we have standards. We have health regulations and standards that all these companies kind of have to follow, and they have to be up to that certain standard to be able to produce food and just be in business. So that also presents the problem of, we have to feed all of these people, and there is a definite need for that, and we should try to cut out as much foodborne illness as possible, make things as healthy as possible. But remember as well, every time that a food goes through a manufacturing process, it also has to go through all the chemicals that are in that facility. They're always cleaning those machines, and every time it goes through another one of those manufacturing processes, it's theoretically going to get a little bit more contaminated with inorganic substances, things that aren't really food but kind of make their way into the food as a result of the process itself. And one of the other problems with processed food is that if you actually look back in your nutrition label, it's not just that food. Oreos aren't just Oreos. They're actually a whole myriad of ingredients in different foods, and this goes to every food that we have. And oftentimes these processed foods are filled with foods that taste good, or ingredients that taste good rather, but aren't very good for you, or even worse, cheap substitutes for something that we've grown accustomed to. So it's often not real cane sugar, it's corn syrup. It's often not olive oil or coconut oil. It's often vegetable oil and canola oil. And these little shifts in foods, they don't really taste all that different to us, but they have an impact on our body, and our body can definitely tell the difference, and our body reacts accordingly. Knowledge is power, guys. If you understand the foods that you're putting into your body, it forces you to make more responsible decisions. It forces you to reflect, and it just becomes a lot simpler, in my opinion. The more you understand about these processed foods, the more you see that there's just so much to be slightly concerned with, and the more it just makes you want to simplify your own diet and go back to a wholesome base of foods. And there's a whole nother topic about not being dogmatic with the foods that you put into your diet or the diets that you adopt, and cutting out particular foods altogether. I think diets like that attempt to restrict your caloric or your food options so much that they put you into a calorie deficit rather than just telling you to be in a calorie deficit, because that's almost easier, right? But yeah, that's another video for another day. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you got something out of it, please like, comment, and share. And I would love to make more videos like this. So if you have any other questions that are related to fitness, fat loss, anything like that, guys, leave them down below, and I would love to help you out with them. And I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.